Since the beginning of July, the interest in AI chatbots has skyrocketed.
AI-powered chatbots are revolutionizing the way that we get our work done.
How to start leveraging it when it comes to AI chatbots.
AI chatbots are evolving, and here's how they're taking over the internet.
Build and train your own custom AI chatbot.
And this interest has coincided with the boom of excitement that is AI automation itself. But there's two questions that I'm constantly hearing within this space when it comes to AI chatbots. One, what platform should I use for my AI chatbot? And two, how can I actually build one of these AI chatbots for my client or my very own business? But before I get into that, let me just introduce myself. If you're new to the channel, I'm Gino Zambi. I'm someone with half a decade's worth of experience when it comes to delivering services online, ranging from marketing services all the way to web design and development services. And in this video, I really want to give you a 101 class on one of the most popular AI chatbot tools on the market today, Voiceflow. And by the end of this video, my goal is to give you that base understanding in a tool like Voiceflow so you can feel competent enough to build on your knowledge to build whatever chatbot you need for your client's business or your very own business. Now, what makes Voiceflow unique compared to its competitors, and why do I use it as my AI chatbot builder of choice? When it comes to Voiceflow, you can think of it as Figma, but for conversations. So if you're design oriented, you've probably heard of Figma. So just think of that plus conversations. But if you're not, then Voiceflow is essentially a drag and drop builder that allows you to design, prototype, and launch AI chatbots, as well as voice chatbots, but that's for an entirely different video. And when it comes to Voiceflow, they're not a new player on the market. They raised roughly 20 million in one of their funding rounds way back in 2021. So they're not a new fish in this ever increasing pond of AI automation. But what makes it unique is the fact that it's a collaborative platform. So if you're working with a team, you can essentially gain real-time feedback via comments, via notes, via images. All of this will help you in creating the best AI chatbot possible for your client or your very own business. Now, why do I use it? Apart from the reason that it's a collaborative platform and you can gain real-time feedback from different builders you work with or conversational designers, is the fact that the pricing is very standard, being a monthly fixed rate instead of a pay-as-you-go model as other platforms may implement. Now, I prefer this because I prefer understanding my base expenses per month per AI chat build for a particular client or business. Now, I have gone into a bit of a deep dive comparing Voiceflow to its biggest competitor on the market in my recent newsletter entry, so you can find that below in the description if you want a deep dive not only on the price comparison but on other key features. Now, one thing I do have to mention is Voiceflow price structure is subject to change, so be mindful of that. But not only that, one of the big reasons I use it is because yes, it has been here for a while and it is being used by big players like Delta, like BMW, and probably your favorite fast food restaurant, McDonald's. So with Voiceflow, you have to understand the 5 basics. Number 1, creating projects. So this is all about setting up your chatbot. Number 2, understanding the canvas. So what elements can you use to build your AI chatbot? Number 3 is all to do with the 2 layers of your AI chatbot, or AI assistant is what they call it on Voiceflow. Number 4 is the 4 AI sources within your AI chatbot or assistant in Voiceflow. And number 5 is embedding and deploying your AI chatbot on different websites or even WhatsApp. So when it comes to creating a project, you really have 3 options. You can actually create the project from scratch. So that's you going through the 5 steps I'll show you briefly. The second option is you can actually import a templated file into your Voiceflow account as a .vf file, or you can use the internal templates Voiceflow provides. But we're going to create a project from scratch so you're able to do it yourself. Now, we're going to start off by going to voiceflow.com. If you haven't got started with Voiceflow, do go through the sign up process. It's very self-explanatory. It'll be very similar to all the other softwares you've probably signed up to in the past. But for clarity's sake, here you want to click get started, start building, and then it will take you through steps in the sign up process. Once you've signed up, what you're going to find is something that looks very similar to this. So as mentioned, there are 3 ways to create a project on Voiceflow. The first way is through creating a new assistant. The second way is importing a .vf file. So if someone gives you a template to upload, you can do it via this button right here. And the third way is through templates. So if you click the template link here, it will take you to a page that looks very similar to this, where you can click through and actually start with the template. So this is a great template if you're looking to utilize lead generation chatbots that link to Zapier. So to give you an example, I'm going to create a project / AI assistant from scratch. So what you want to do is you want to click New Assistant, enter the name, insert an image if you like, select Build AI Assistant, click Continue, select the channel. You have multiple options here. I usually pick web chat if I'm doing a demo bot, and select your language, which will most likely be English. Click Continue, and this will allow you to add other team members into your workspace if needed. But if you don't need any other team members, then just click Create Assistant. And here's where you can actually start building your first bot on Voiceflow, or your next bot on Voiceflow if you've already created some. Now, to go back to the dashboard, you can simply hover over the logo and click back to dashboard, and it will take you back to the workspace where you can again create a new assistant, import a template, or use one of their internal templates for your AI assistant. Also, a key concept to grasp within Voiceflow is how it is structured. So Voiceflow is structured in a hierarchical system. So what that means is that you have domains at the very top as the high level within your AI assistant. This is essentially the areas within your AI project. Then you have topics, so self-explanatory. These are essentially the categories within your AI assistant. And then you have the intents. If you think of the word intents, it's what the user wants. So if the user is looking for a refund, you're sending them down that intent. If they're looking for order confirmation or order details, you would want to send them down that intent. So you have the hierarchical structure of domain, topics, and intents, and then there's a few other terms that you should really get your head around if you want to use Voiceflow fully, which are things like utterances, variables, entities. But mainly you want to focus on the topics, because domains, you'll probably be using one domain. So focus on topics, which is the categories within your AI assistant. Then you have the intent, so what your user actually wants to achieve. You want to send them down a certain path, and you'll be using intents for that. And you have utterances, what your user is actually typing in, what are their responses. You're often going to be using something called last utterance, particularly when you're getting started on Voiceflow. This is essentially you collecting the information they're giving you to use in either your AI generated response, or just to save as a variable that you can use later. And one hack I want to give you is, if you feel confused about any concepts within Voiceflow, you can actually ask their internal AI assistant that you have right at the corner of your workspace. If you click that, you'll be able to ask any questions you have regarding what a variable is, what are entities, what are utterances, and it will be able to give you examples if you prompt it. Once you create your first project in Voiceflow or AI assistant, the next basic is all revolved around understanding the canvas, and more specifically understanding the steps available to creating your AI assistant. So designing a conversational flow in Voiceflow really does start at the step level. And what are steps? You can really just think of this as the cards within the blocks that you drag on to the canvas. These steps are essentially the building blocks to your AI assistant. Now, the three main activities you'll be using with steps are essentially adding them to the canvas, editing the info within the steps, so within the cards themselves, and 3, connecting different steps to each other, or connecting the blocks which the steps are within to each other. One thing to note though is that in Voiceflow you will be starting off with a start step. This will appear by default when you create a new project in Voiceflow, and this is essentially where the conversational flow starts from. So where can you find these steps? These steps are located in the floating banner to the left of your main canvas. Now, there are different steps you can use to add some functionality to your AI chatbot, but here I will be listing the main ones you will come across, particularly when you're getting started with Voiceflow. So you'll most likely start off with the text step, and that is where you can essentially add text to your AI chatbot. Then in terms of AI, you most likely will be using the response AI step. This is where you can essentially respond to your user using AI via your knowledge base or via AI models within Voiceflow. Then you need a way to actually capture users' inputs, and you can do this through the button step, the choice step, or the capture step. And one thing, if you are looking to connect to external software, you will likely be using the API step, which you can find within the dev subsection. And with Voiceflow, it's not like your typical AI chatbot builder. You can actually build your conversational flow in two ways. You can either have a linear flow, and this is something you will be used to in terms of connecting different blocks via arrows and just going through a natural path, one block at a time until you reach the conclusion. But Voiceflow does add another way to go through a conversational flow, which which is non-linear. So you can essentially jump to different sections of your AI chatbot for your user to engage with. And you typically do this through the intent step within the event subsection. But initially, you most likely will be starting with the linear flow to keep things simple. So essentially just connecting blocks via arrows. But in time, you will get more comfortable and you will most likely be using non-linear flows so you can give your AI chatbot more flexibility. Now, this is where we bring AI into AI chatbots in Voiceflow. When you're actually designing a conversational flow or an AI chatbot within Voiceflow, you really need to think about it in two specific layers. The first layer is your base layer, and that is where your knowledge base is. A knowledge base is essentially a centralized hub of information, which is usually a collection of documents or data that can be assessed and used to provide a contextual answer to a user's query or question. Now, within Voiceflow, you can upload different data sources into your knowledge base. So you can use a URL, a sitemap, docs, text, and PDFs. Over time, I'm sure they will allow you to upload more data sources, but for now, those are the core 5 data sources you can upload to your knowledge base. And what you build on top of that base layer is your flow layer. So if a user has a specific question or is talking about a specific topic, you can actually create another layer, which is usually done with intent to answer that specific topic. So to take the user down that specific flow of conversation. Now, technically speaking, you can actually just use your base layer for a very simple AI Q&A chatbot in Voiceflow. The way you would do that is by uploading data sources to your knowledge base, go into your canvas, importing a text step onto your canvas, and then right below that text step, importing a button step. So what this will do is that once a user engages with your AI chatbot, it will essentially listen to a specific question or query the user may have, and then it will respond back with information from the knowledge base. Now, knowing that the knowledge base is the base layer within your Voiceflow AI chatbot, you would think that it has the highest priority when answering your user's question, but that is not the case when it comes to Voiceflow. Voiceflow actually has 3 levels of priority. So the highest level of priority when a user has a query or asks a question is the intent within your canvas. But if there is no relevant intent within your AI chatbot, it will then go down to the base layer, which is your knowledge base. And if your AI chatbot can't come up with a response in accordance with the intents you provided or the knowledge base you have provided, then it will go to a global no match, which is essentially the last resort message. Now, this last resort message can either be static or it can be generative in terms of being provided by an AI model that Voiceflow provides. To set your global no match, you want to go to the settings icon within your canvas, then go to the global logic tab, and there you will find the global no match, which you can set as static or generative. So the knowledge base is just one of the ways you can incorporate AI into a Voiceflow chatbot. Now, there are 3 other ways. One of those additional ways is via generative tasks. This allows you to generate content for your AI assistant, which allows you the opportunity to create variations in your response back to the user. The third AI feature, in addition to the knowledge base and generative tasks, is generative steps. So I've mentioned steps in this video, but in terms of AI, you have response AI and set AI. And this is essentially a way for you to respond to a user's query or question via AI. And the last AI feature I've touched on briefly, which is generative no match. So again, as a fallback option, Voiceflow allows you to incorporate generative responses if via the user's question or query you can't find an appropriate response via intent or the data sources in your knowledge base. So I've gone over the 4 core AI features, but where can you find them within Voiceflow and how can you use them within Voiceflow? Now, to go to your knowledge base section, what you want to do is go and hover and click the brain icon here, and once you hover over it, you should see knowledge base. Once you do that, you can add data sources here. So you can add a URL, a sitemap, text, PDF, or doc. And once you upload a few data sources, you can preview by clicking the preview here. What that is essentially, if you ask a question, you can see how your data sources respond to the question provided. One thing you can do also is you can edit the settings, so you can have a different AI model, whether you want it to be Claude, Instant. This is typically the fastest in terms of responses, or you could make it a bit more in depth, but you do need to have the pro plan to use ChatGPT 4. And here you can see the system, which is essentially your prompt. So how you will respond when using your knowledge base, you can manipulate here via the system by entering a specific prompt. Now that is the knowledge base section in Voiceflow. Now when it comes to generative tasks, what you would typically find is that when you import a text block onto your canvas, you will see here generate. Now if I was to type hello there, it will allow me to create 1, 3 or 5 variations. So once I click generate 5 variants, you will see that it's created hi there, hey there, greetings. So this is giving you variations so your chatbot doesn't seem so static in your responses back to the user. Now when it comes to the generative AI steps, you can actually import them onto your canvas by hovering over the AI subsection here, and then you have 2 options. You can either import the response AI to generate responses at runtime using AI, or you can use set AI to apply AI responses to a variable. So for this example, let's use response AI. Here you can have your data source as an AI model, whether that be Claude or GBT, or you can use the knowledge base from the data sources you've uploaded. Now here, if we were to use an AI model, you can enter your prompts here. So essentially, instead of using a text step to give your response, you can enter a prompt here to give an AI-based response instead of a static text response. And again, here you have prompt settings, so you can choose your AI model, whether that be ChatGPT 3, whether that be GPT 3.5 Turbo, Claude Instant, which is typically the fastest in terms of giving a response, and you can manipulate the temperature and max tokens. And again, you can have an overarching system prompt, so you can essentially dictate how you want your AI response to respond to the user. And when it comes to the generative no match, you can go to the settings here, you can go down to global logic, global no match, click edit, and instead of having it as static, you can have it as generative. And again, you can choose the AI model, whether that be GPT 3.5 or Claude. And again, you can manipulate the temperature, the max token, and have a specific prompt to guide the response. And once you're happy with the settings, you can click save. And whenever your AI chatbot can't respond to a user via the intent or via the knowledge base, it will use this generative no match. Now, this is a bit of a heads up. If you are looking to use generative no match, then really look to refine your prompt in the system box. Or if you're utilizing sensitive information, I personally find it's better to just use a static no match instead of a generative. The generative AI no match could hallucinate some responses that could be detrimental to your business or your client's business. And the last basic you need to understand when it comes to Voiceflow and AI chatbots is deployment and embedding your chatbot on, say, a website or a WhatsApp channel. Now I'm going to jump back to the canvas so you can see how you can do this in real time. When it comes to deployment, there's really 3 steps you need to go through. The first one is to preview your bot. So that's just to see if everything is working to your liking. And once you find that it is, then you want to click publish, and here is where you will have to essentially name your version. So I typically like to name my versions version 1, because if I was to publish again and do another version, I can actually go into my settings and see how many versions, and maybe even go to a previous version that was working better. So that's the deployment. It's in 3 steps. First, you preview your AI chatbot, then you publish your AI chatbot, and you essentially create a version of that AI chatbot when you're publishing. Now, I want to give you the example of a deployment in real time. So with step 1, as mentioned, you want to preview the bot, and you do this by clicking the run button. Then you run the test, and here you can see that the AI chatbot has begun the flow. Now, once you're done with that, you can click the back button, or even you can share your prototype and you can manipulate the appearance and branding. You can even put a password. Say if you're giving it to a potential prospect, then you can have them enter a specific password to try out the bot. But that's what you do first. The first step is to essentially preview the bot so everything is working how you would like it. Then you click back, and here is where you click publish, and you give your chatbot a certain version name. So I typically like to put version 1 and the name of the bot, so demo bot. And once that's done, you are likely to see an embed widget here. This is because this is a web chatbot. So this was specifically made right at the beginning to be a web chatbot. If you're looking to utilize WhatsApp, then when you create your AI assistant, when it comes to selecting the channel, you want to select WhatsApp instead of web chat. But here you can see embed widget, and it will take you to the actual integration section. So if you want to go back to your canvas and see how you do this manually, what you would do, you would go to integrations, and here you will see web chat. And this is the snippet of code you want to copy. Now, typically you would have to insert it just before the closing of the body tag. And if you want to change the appearance, then you can change the color, the logo, and how it appears. And there's also general settings where you can change the name, the description, the position, the spacing. So there's a lot you can do here in terms of customization. Now, when it comes to WhatsApp, what you really have to do is make sure that when you create your assistant, as in here, let's just say you give it a name DemoBot, build AI assistant, you select the WhatsApp channel. So instead of selecting web chat, you select the WhatsApp channel. And again, you select the language and click continue and then create assistant. Now, if you would like to integrate it into your WhatsApp channel, you will need a Twilio account and you will need a business WhatsApp. And I will link a more detailed guide provided by Voiceflow so you can see exactly how to do it in the description below. Now, understanding the basics of an AI chatbot builder like Voiceflow is crucial, but understanding how to create a functional AI chatbot itself is where the value comes in. So link below, I have provided an AI demo bot template that you can upload to your very own Voiceflow account. Now, with this demo bot, you'll be able to show a potential client how an AI chatbot would be on their very own website, or if you own your own business and you want to see how an AI chatbot would look on your website, this is also beneficial for you because you're able to see how it could integrate into your website. Now, with the template below, you'll find 3 things: the template with upload instructions, the exact step-by-step process I use to create Voiceflow AI demo bots, which essentially means you can learn how to create them and not only just have the template, and I'll also provide a swipe file showing you the step-by-step process in screenshots. Now, creating a demo bot shouldn't be a long process. It's more just to demonstrate or just to give a glimpse of what is possible with AI chatbots. Now, with Voiceflow, you don't necessarily need custom code to create very complex chatbots, but you do need to understand the basics of the platform, which was covered in this video: topics, intense utterances. You do need to understand the canvas and particular steps in terms of logic, so utilizing API calls, utilizing the AI step in terms of response AI and set AI. But all of this is something that you can learn over time. And what I personally did and what I would recommend is first understand the basics, so read a bit of the documentation first, then start playing with the tool, try some small bots in terms of demo bots, or even upload the one I provided below, play around with it, and then build on to creating lead generation systems or customer service chatbots. And then that's where you'll reach a point of feeling competent enough to create a variety of different chatbots. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I will be looking to create more videos revolved around Voiceflow, maybe some use case videos, so maybe some lead generation chatbots. Be sure to subscribe if you're looking forward to that. And also comment below if you have any suggestions, and I'll be seeing you on the next one.